Hello yogis, welcome back to your mat. My name is Krista and this is day 4 of our Spring into Yoga challenge. Today's focus is going to be on the hips and the lower back. We're going to be giving those areas lots of love. If you have a sock or a tennis ball or a yoga ball, lacrosse ball might be too hard, please feel free to grab that. We're going to be using it as a prop today. If you don't have one of those props, just a nice hard surface will be fine, or your hands. We are going to be opening up the hips today, getting into the low back, doing some strengthening work, and a little bit of self-massage. As always, I have my playlist linked down below, so feel free to click on that now so you can listen to some nice tunes while you're doing this little flow today. And for today, we're going to get started in butterfly pose. So bring the soles of your feet together, knees open up like a book. And feel free to play with the distance of your feet. So heels nice and close to the pelvis. You're going to feel that in the inner thighs. Heels away from the pelvis. You're going to feel it a little bit more on the outer thighs. So you can play around with that. And just grab onto the ankles and just with a nice flat back, just think of leaning forward. We don't have to go to our depth right away, just maybe in and out of that stretch. Maybe getting a little bit further and further. And if you'd like, you can also, if you have your feet out, maybe you want to bring them a little bit closer and get a little bit more into that inner thigh. And just a couple more here. And then just find a nice sweet spot. And just come into your depth and just linger here for a couple breaths. Take a nice deep breath in through the belly. And a long exhale out through the mouth. And then just gently walk yourself back upright. Bring your hands behind you. Close your legs up and just bring your feet about hip distance apart, maybe a little bit wider than that. And lean back as far as you need to gently windshield wiper the knees back and forth. Yeah, just notice how your hips are feeling. They're feeling a little bit tight, a little bit stiff. We're just getting some movement into that area. Noticing any clicks or pops. Those are totally okay as long as there's no pain associated with it. And then come back up to center, extend the left leg out in front of you, and then the right ankle on top of the left thigh. And then bring the sole of the left foot onto the floor. And just, again, adjust your foot. Further away from you is going to be less intense on that bent leg. And then closer towards you is going to be more intense of a stretch. So you can play around with it. And just spend some time here, again, rocking back and forth, opening up through the hips a little bit more. And this is where I'm going to invite you to grab your rolled up sock or a ball. And the leg that's bent, you're going to put it just underneath your bum there. And then I want you to just think of rolling your glute all onto that sock, onto that ball. And if you're on the floor, again, the hardness of the floor is going to bring a nice massage into that glute area as well. And if you don't have any of these props, if you want a little bit more than the floor, feel free to use your hand as well. Your hand also acts as a nice prop. So you can play around with it here. Maybe rolling onto that right side a little bit more, getting into different areas of the glute. Feel free to move around the sock And if you come into a nice juicy area, maybe you just linger here for a moment or two and just breathe. Let's do a little bit more on this side. And then come back up through center. Just remove your prop out of the way. That bottom leg, slide that foot in close to the pelvis, just enough that you can bring that right foot down onto the floor. We're going to start to twist to the right, grab a hold of that right knee. Sit up nice and tall. Breathe. And release back through center, and we'll switch sides. This time extending our right leg. Left ankle comes on top of the right. And then again, place the sole of the right foot onto the floor, coming into your figure 4 shape. Keep the foot flexed. And just start very gently rocking side to side. And if you feel like you could add a little bit more to this, grab a hold of your sock or a ball and just start to roll onto that glute. So we're really loosening all the muscles in the glute, and they're all connected into our hips and into our low back. So by loosening these up, we can relieve tension in our hips, relieve tightness. And again, find some juicy areas and maybe do some wiggles, some twisting. And don't be afraid to really lean back as much as you need to onto your forearms. And again, that's just going to get into different areas of the glute. Maybe getting into that piriformis. If you know you've hit the piriformis, it's like a really intense sensation for most people. Make sure you're getting into the top of that glute as well. You might need to lean back a little bit further for that one. Beautiful. And then come back up to center. Just remove your prop off to the side. Again, that bottom leg, just tuck it under, just so you can cross the left leg over top. And then we're going to start to twist to the left this time and just hook your elbow around that knee. Lengthen up through the spine, and then exhale, twist. Keep breathing deeply through the belly. Allow your lungs to fill up completely. And then exhale, come back to center. And then from here, uncross the legs. Come to sit in a staff pose. Staff pose means legs are extended, feet are flexed. Place your hands by your hips. Sit up nice and tall. Think of pushing into the ground. Keep your quadriceps engaged. Lengthen the shoulders away from the ears. Stabilize. And then we're going to come to roll all the way onto our back. Once you've arrived on your back, just bring your feet about hip distance apart, nice and close to your bum. Knees pointed up towards the sky. Now we're going to find a bridge pose here. So bring your arms alongside the body and press your palms into the mat. Now, I'm not going to be too picky about the way your feet are. Just try not to have them too turned out, but slightly turned out is okay, depending on the shape of your body. So start to press down through the soles of the feet. Gently scoop up your pelvis. Squeeze your bum as you lift your pelvis up towards the sky. Just go to your depth. Think of lengthening your tailbone down towards the bottom of your mat. Breathe. Building some strength into your low back. Stay here for one more breath in. And exhale, slowly curl the spine back down onto the earth. Give some windshield wiper motions with the knees if that feels okay. We're going to revisit that 2 more times. So the next time your knees find center, press into the soles of the feet. Think of tucking your shoulders underneath you. Scoop the pelvis. Lift it up. Again, arms can rest by your side, or if you can reach, interlace the fingers underneath your low back, and then start to straighten the arms. And as you do, you might tuck your shoulders a little bit further underneath your back. Think of squeezing the thighs in towards each other. Breathe. And then exhale, release the clasp if you have, and then gently lower back down. Beautiful. Now this next one, we're going to change it up a little bit. So find butterfly legs. So you want to think of bringing the soles of the feet together. The edges of the feet are on the mat. You don't want to open up your knees fully, so keep them a little bit closed. And then from here, start to inhale, press down into the edges of the feet to lift your pelvis up. Yeah, this just gives a different sensation in through the glutes and through the low back. Again, try not to arch the back as you lift. Think of, again, lengthening the tailbone down towards the bottom of your mat. Breathe. Exhale, lower down. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, let's lift. Exhale. Inhale, lift it up. Exhale, release. Beautiful. Bring the knees in together. Draw the knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a hug. And just circle out to the knees if that feels good. And then bring the shins so they come parallel to your mat, and your knees are going to stack directly over your hips. And when you do this, your low back might start to kind of lift off the floor. I want you to think of pulling the belly button in and really sinking that low back against the floor here. Yeah, so we're just getting into a little bit of the core, especially the lower abdomen area. And then place your hands on top of your thighs and very gently start to push onto your thighs, and then have your thighs push against your hands. Yeah, so we're creating a little tension. We're waking up the core a little bit here. A nice strong core is going to keep our low back safe. So keep breathing. Maybe it might be a little bit more minimal than normal. If you want a little bit of an added challenge, keep the left hand on the left thigh and then start to extend that right leg down to the bottom of your mat to hover. And then pull it back in. And then switch sides. Left leg extends. Keep your low back glued onto the mat and then pull it back in. Beautiful. Let's do one more time each side. Keep breathing. Breathe through that shakiness. Beautiful. Last one here. Hold, hold, hold. Whew. And then exhale, release. Draw the knees into the chest. Again, shake side to side. And last little self-massage here. Bring the soles of the feet onto the mat. Just gently lift your hips enough that you can bring the tops of your hands just kind of on that top glute area. And then once you're here, you can start to windshield wiper motion the knees side to side and move around your hands however you like. And you're almost using your hands as like a little self-massage tool. Maybe it might feel good to make fists, if that's okay for your wrists. Whew, getting into any little sticky areas. Yeah, we always forget the tools that we have available to us is really simple. It's the floor and our hands. Awesome. And then just gently come back up to center once you've had enough of that massage. Take your hands out from underneath you. Bring your arms in a cactus or T shape. And then slowly start to lower your knees down to the right side, coming into just a gentle twist. And then inhale, bring your knees back through center. And then exhale, lower your knees down towards the left. On your next inhale, draw your knees back to center. And then extend your legs long on your mat. Bring your hands, one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. Take a nice long breath in through your nose. Open mouth, just let everything go. Spend a few minutes here just really feeling the breath. Nice big breath in, expands the belly, expands the rib cage. And then with every exhale, deflates the rib cage and your belly softens. And I want you to think of breathing 360 degrees around your body. Meaning you're really breathing into the low back, you're breathing into the back of the body, in between your shoulder blades. Really challenging all these accessory muscles to our breath and the way our breath functions. And I invite you to stay here as long as you need to for today. Thank you so much for joining me on today's practice, and I hope your hips and your low back feel so, so good right now. Thank yourselves for giving yourself and your body some love. Until tomorrow, namaste.